Good morning, guys. It's been a while since I've made a video for you, but as you know, I'm at the doctor's office today with my daughter who's sick, and you guys are going to start the launch of your project for this week. So with that said, we had talked briefly about the STEM immersion project last week on our time together on Tuesday, and we talked about what an investor does. We brought up the idea of Shark Tank, and we discussed how an investor is somebody who puts up money or resources with the expectation of a future financial return. So, for example, if Hagen is wanting to start a lawn mowing business, and I know that there's a need for a lawn mowing business in our neighborhood, then perhaps I would front him some cash to purchase his mower, his gas, any other materials that he would need, in hopes that once his business got up and running, there would be some kind of a financial return for me. So perhaps I would spot him his startup costs, and the expectation is I get 20% of his profits for the next 3 years. So any amount of money he makes for the next 3 years, I get 20% of that. I would be his investor. That's the information that you need in order to be able to understand today's project. With that said, if you'll get out your STEM-ersion project paper, I'd like to discuss what this project entails. So Jamie is an accountant at a mid-sized firm and has been hired by an investor to make recommendations about 5 local small businesses. These businesses are all in debt, but the investor sees potential in each of their ideas. Before the investor can make an educated decision, the investor wants to know when each company's revenue will meet their cost. So when will the money that they profit be even with their expenses? The investor has also mentioned that he prefers companies that will turn a profit within the next 24 months. The investor has secured the expense and revenue reports for each business for review. In addition, Jamie has created linear models to project the cost and revenue of each business. She now must use the results to make informed recommendations. Your task is to use the information provided to help Jamie make a proposal for her client, the investor. The following criteria must be met. You need to use each of the 3 methods for solving linear systems at least once. You should show your work for each company and provide an interpretation of the break-even point. This is the sentence that we've talked about for a while now. In addition, you need to create a poster for Jamie's proposal meeting with the investor. Your proposal should be outlined as follows. You should have a purpose, which is a statement of the purpose of the proposal. So the purpose of this proposal is, you should have a hypothesis, which should sound something like, I predict that blank will be the best choice for the investor because, and then give us your reasoning for your hypothesis. The meat of your proposal is in the experimental analysis. You're going to show your work where you've solved each linear model, and you're going to provide an interpretation of the findings for each individual company. So you're going to give me a sentence that deals with the cost and revenue for each of the 5 companies. And then lastly, you're going to give me your conclusion, which is your recommendation. So you're going to provide the client with the recommendation based on your mathematical findings, and you must use evidence to support your claim. So obviously your evidence is in your math. Okay? That's what your proposal will look like when it's finished on a poster board. I want you to imagine bringing this to your investor and presenting it just like you would if you were Jamie. Here's the information that you need to know in order to complete this project. This is the cost and revenue report for each of the 5 businesses that were collected, and here's your cost and revenue model that Jamie has put together. So your goal today is going to be to get your hypothesis completed, as well as start on your experimental analysis. When you come in tomorrow, I should be able to read your hypothesis as well as see where you have started your experimental analysis. Okay, so you're going to break up in teams of 2. You can pick your partners, but you know that I have 0 sympathy for partners who do not work out, so choose your partner wisely. You will have 2 days to complete this project. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.